The first light of the world does not break over a continent, but over a scattering of emeralds in the vast sapphire desert of the South Pacific. Here, at the 181st meridian, the international dateline draws an invisible thread through the archipelago of Fiji. To stand on the shores of Taveuni is to stand on the edge of time itself, one foot in yesterday, the other in tomorrow. Fiji is not merely a destination. It is a sprawling constellation of 333 islands, born of fire and sculpted by the relentless rhythm of the tide. For the uninitiated, Fiji is the quintessential postcard: white sands, leaning palms, and water so clear it seems to vanish. But to look closer is to see a land of profound complexity. From the rugged, cloud-shrouded peaks of Viti Levu to the tiny limestone islets of the Lau group, this is a nation defined by its isolation and its connection. It is a place where the geological heat of volcanic origins meets the cooling trade winds, creating a sanctuary for life both above and below the breaking waves. This is the heart of Oceania, and its story is one of survival, migration, and an unbreakable spirit known throughout the world as Bula. The silence of these islands was first broken 3,000 years ago. Long before European navigators dared to cross the open ocean, the Lapita people, the master voyagers of the Neolithic, steered their outrigger canoes across thousands of miles of uncharted blue. Guided by the stars, the flight patterns of birds, and the subtle swell of the deep, they found these shores. They brought with them their distinctive stamped pottery, their livestock, and the seeds of a culture that would become the bedrock of the Pacific. Ancient Fiji was a land of formidable warriors and intricate social hierarchies. For centuries, the islands were known to outsiders as the Cannibal Isles, a reputation that struck fear into the hearts of 19th century sailors. Power was concentrated in the hands of paramount chiefs, and warfare was a ritualized, often brutal necessity of tribal sovereignty. Yet within this warrior culture lay a sophisticated system of communal living and respect for the land, or vanua. The vanua is not just the soil, it is the people, the ancestors, and the spirit of the place intertwined. In the mid-1800s, this world underwent a seismic shift with the arrival of Christian missionaries and the eventual cession of the islands to the British Crown under the leadership of Ratu Seru Chakobau. The war clubs were laid down, replaced by the Bible and the colonial ledger, setting the stage for a new multicultural Fiji. Under British rule, the landscape of Fiji changed forever, not just ecologically, but demographically. The colonial economy demanded a white gold, sugar. When the indigenous Fijians proved reluctant to abandon their communal subsistence lifestyle for the drudgery of the plantations, the British looked to India. Between 1879 and 1916, more than 60,000 Indians arrived under the Gurmat system of indentured labor. These men and women, known as Gurmatiyas, endured grueling conditions, yet they brought with them a vibrant tapestry of faith, cuisine, and language. They built the railways that still crisscross the cane fields and established routes that would grow into the modern Indo-Fijian community. Today, the scent of wood-fired roti mingles with the aroma of earth-baked lovo feasts. The domes of mosques and the ornate towers of Hindu temples sit alongside Methodist churches. This fusion was not always easy. Political tensions and coups have punctuated Fiji's modern history. But the result is a unique, pluralistic society that finds its strength in the blending of two distinct heritages into a single national identity. To understand Fiji, one must leave the bustling streets of Suva and the luxury resorts of Nadi and head into the interior. Life in a Fijian village, or koro, operates on a different clock, one governed by the sun and the needs of the community. Here, the concept of solevu, communal sharing, is the law of the land. No one goes hungry if their neighbor has a surplus of cassava or dalo. Central to this social fabric is the Yakona ceremony, better known as kava. Derived from the crushed root of a pepper plant, kava is more than a drink. It is the social glue of the islands. To participate in a savu-sevu, the formal offering of kava to a village chief, is to enter into a sacred contract of respect and protection. As the coconut shell, or bilo, is passed around, the numbing sensation on the tongue is accompanied by a deepening of conversation. In these circles, disputes are settled, stories are told, and the Bula spirit, a wish for health and life, is reaffirmed. It is a culture that prioritizes the we over the I, a rare philosophy in an increasingly individualistic world. While the land holds the history, the ocean holds the future. Fiji is famously known as the soft coral capital of the world, a title earned by the kaleidoscopic reefs of the Bula Water and the Great Astrolabe Reef. Beneath the surface, the Pacific reveals its true opulence. Divers find themselves in a forest of dendronephthia corals, neon pinks, oranges, and purples that bloom in the nutrient-rich currents. These reefs are not just a tourist attraction, they are the lifeblood of the nation. They protect the islands from the fury of cyclones and provide the protein that sustains every coastal village. In recent years, Fiji has become a global leader in marine conservation. Locally managed marine areas, LMMAs, have empowered villages to implement taboo zones, traditional no-take areas that allow fish stocks to regenerate. It is a beautiful irony. The ancient, traditional knowledge of the elders is now being used to solve the modern crisis of overfishing, proving that the old ways often hold the keys to the future. Today, Fiji stands at a crossroads of tradition and transformation. Suva, the capital, is the beating heart of the South Pacific, a regional hub for education, diplomacy, and trade. It is a city of rain, rugby, and resilience. On any given Saturday, every patch of green in the country is occupied by young men and women chasing an oval ball. Rugby is more than a sport in Fiji. It is a national passion that transcends ethnic and social divides. The Olympic gold medals won by the Sevens team are symbols of a small nation punching far above its weight on the global stage. However, the modern era brings its own set of challenges. Tourism is the engine of the economy, providing jobs and infrastructure, but it is a double-edged sword. The influx of nearly 1 million visitors a year puts pressure on resources and can sometimes mask the economic hardships faced by those in rural areas. The youth of Fiji are increasingly drawn to the cities, leaving behind the traditional lifestyle of the Koro. The challenge for the 21st century is to embrace the opportunities of the global digital economy without losing the cultural anchor that makes Fiji unique. Perhaps the greatest threat to Fiji's existence is one it did little to cause. As a small island developing state, Fiji is on the front lines of climate change. For many, rising sea levels are not a theoretical projection but a daily reality. Coastal villages like Vuni have already been forced to relocate to higher ground, leaving behind ancestral burial grounds and the homes of their forefathers. The warming of the oceans leads to more frequent and more intense cyclones. In 2016, Cyclone Winston, the strongest storm ever to make landfall in the southern hemisphere, tore through the islands, leaving a trail of destruction that cost the nation a third of its GDP. Yet in the aftermath, the world saw the Fijian character at its most potent. Neighbors helped neighbors rebuild with little more than a machete and a smile. Fiji has become a powerful voice in international climate negotiations, with its leaders reminding the world that while they are among the most vulnerable, they are not victims. They are warriors for the planet. As the sun sets over the Mamanuca Islands, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and gold, the rhythm of Fiji slows, but never stops. The sound of a distant lali drum calls people to prayer or to dinner. The laughter of children playing on the beach echoes through the palms. Fiji is a place of contradictions, a land of ancient taboos and modern technology, of serene lagoons and violent storms, of deep-rooted traditions and a welcoming openness to the world. It reminds us that we are all islanders, in a sense, sharing a single, fragile planet. To visit Fiji is to be reminded of what matters, the strength of community, the necessity of laughter, and the profound beauty of a life lived in harmony with the sea. The word Bula means more than hello. It is a blessing, a wish for life, and a recognition of the spark within every person. In Fiji, that spark burns bright, undimmed by time or tide. It is the pulse of the Pacific, and it beats on, steady and true.